As Captain Mara Jennings and her team disembarked onto the lush, alien terrain of Eden, an earth-shattering roar echoed through the dense forest, freezing everyone in their tracks. Mara squinted into the verdant underbrush just as a massive, shadowy figure darted between the trees. The ground trembled under its weight, and a second, even closer roar made the air vibrate. Turning slowly to her wide-eyed crew, Mara's voice was calm but carried a sharp edge of command. "Stay sharp, everyone. We're not the top of the food chain here." The shuttle hummed through the dense, cloud-laden skies of Eden, its hull vibrating as it descended through the atmosphere. Captain Mara Jennings peered through the viewport at the verdant world below, a tapestry of lush forests and meandering rivers unfolding beneath them. Excitement was palpable within the shuttle. After months in space, the 30 settlers aboard were eager to set foot on what would become humanity's newest colony. "Initiate the landing sequence," Mara instructed her co-pilot, her voice steady despite the flutter of anticipation in her stomach. The shuttle responded, its engines adjusting as they approached a promising landing site near a large river, previously identified by their scans as an ideal location for their new settlement. As the shuttle's landing gears deployed with a resounding clunk, Mara addressed her team. "Remember, everyone, stay sharp. We're not certain what awaits us down there. Keep the safety protocols in place until we've secured the perimeter." The moment the shuttle doors opened, a rush of warm, humid air swept into the cabin. The settlers stepped out onto the soft, fertile soil of Eden, the planet greeting them with a chorus of alien sounds from the surrounding forest. It was a moment of triumph, a new chapter for humanity. The team wasted no time, swiftly unloading equipment and beginning the setup of their initial encampment. Temporary shelters sprouted from the ground, solar panels were erected to harness the sun's energy, and the first seeds of Earth's crops were sown into Eden's rich soil. However, the excitement of their first day was abruptly interrupted during a perimeter check. 2 of Mara's top rangers ventured too close to a dense thicket and encountered a terrifying sight. Towering creatures, their scales glistening under Eden's twin suns and their eyes reflecting a chilling intelligence, observed them from the shadows. The rangers retreated slowly, managing to return to camp to report their encounter. Mara listened intently, her mind racing. "Describe everything you saw," she urged them. "They were massive, Captain," one ranger explained, his voice a mix of awe and fear. "They move silently despite their size. Clearly, they are apex predators." The news spread quickly through the camp, casting a shadow of fear over the settlers. Mara called an immediate meeting, her leadership qualities rising to the forefront as she addressed her people. "We knew this planet wouldn't be handed to us without challenges," Mara began, her voice projecting calm and determination. "We are intruders in their world, and it's up to us to adapt. I'm implementing a Level 1 security protocol effective immediately. No one is to venture outside the perimeter without an armed escort." In the weeks that followed their first encounter with the Verox, life in the Eden settlement adopted a new rhythm marked by vigilance and adaptation. The initial shock of meeting Eden's apex predators shifted the settlers' priorities from exploration to fortification. Captain Mara Jennings supervised the strengthening of the camp's defenses, her focus resolute as she coordinated the construction of a reinforced perimeter. One crisp morning, as Miss Reed the newly fortified walls, Mara met with Dr. Elliot Reed, the colony's lead biologist, in the makeshift lab that doubled as their strategy room. "Elliot, what have you learned about these creatures? Are there any weaknesses we can exploit?" Mara inquired, her tone blending curiosity with urgency. Elliot adjusted his glasses, his eyes tired yet alight with the thrill of discovery. "They're incredibly intelligent, surpassing any terrestrial predator. However, they rely heavily on ambush tactics, which suggests a potential vulnerability to direct confrontation. We could use this to our advantage by maintaining open, clear spaces around our camp," he suggested, pointing to a map of the surrounding area. Mara considered his words as she sipped her coffee, the steam warming her face in the cool dawn air. "Continue your observations, Elliot. We need every piece of information we can gather." As the colony settled into its new normal, security measures were intensified. Patrols became more frequent, and watchtowers, manned by vigilant sentries, dotted the landscape, scanning the lush forests that encircled their new home. Despite these precautions, the Verox maintained a presence just beyond the settlers' sensors, a constant reminder of the untamed wilderness of Eden. The settlers also faced challenges in agriculture. The earth crops imported to Eden struggled to adapt to the alien yet fertile soil. Mara tasked Lena, a young agricultural engineer with a keen interest in botany, to experiment with integrating earth plants with native flora to boost crop yields. Think of it as a diplomatic mission, Lena. Make peace with the soil, Mara quipped one afternoon, aiming to lighten the mood as she toured the greenhouses. Lena embraced her task with vigor, and her experiments gradually began to show promise. She successfully hybridized several crops that thrived in Eden's unique conditions, providing a crucial morale boost to the settlement. "We might just eat well after all," she said with a grin, presenting Mara with the first successful harvest of Eden-adapted tomatoes. However, the fragile balance was shattered one evening when an alarm tore through the settlement. Mara sprinted to the command center, her heart racing as reports flooded in. A young scout, having disobeyed orders, had strayed too far and stumbled into a Verox hunting ground. The rescue team, led by Mara herself, found the scout severely injured but alive, saved by a hastily activated distress beacon. Back at camp, as the medical team worked to stabilize the scout, Mara addressed her exhausted team. "This cannot happen again. We're not just protecting ourselves from them, we're protecting them from us," she declared firmly, her resolve hardening. "I want double the patrols and tighter checks on all equipment. If we are to survive here, it must be by respecting this planet and its inhabitants." The atmosphere in the Eden settlement had shifted palpably since the scouts' near-fatal encounter with the Verox. This brush with death underscored the precariousness of their situation on a planet as hostile as it was beautiful. Captain Mara Jennings, aware of the growing unease among her crew, convened a meeting with her leadership team to address the rising tensions and reinforce their mission's dual objectives: survival and ecological respect. "We're not here to conquer Eden," Mara began, her voice steady as she addressed the room filled with section leaders and key personnel. "We're here to coexist. That means understanding this ecosystem and finding our place within it without disrupting its balance." Dr. Elliot Reed, who had dedicated countless hours to observing Verox behavior, shared his latest findings. The Verox are territorial but not indiscriminately aggressive. They primarily attack when they feel threatened or when their young are at risk. I propose we precisely map out their territories and adjust our activities to avoid key areas. Mara nodded thoughtfully, then turned her attention to Lena, the young agricultural engineer whose successful crop hybridization had become a symbol of adaptability. "Lena, how adaptable are our new crops to different soil types?" "I'm thinking about relocating some of our farming activities to less contested areas." Lena, enthusiastic yet cautious, replied, "It's possible. The hybrid crops have shown resilience. We can trial small plots in varied locations. It'll take time, but it could certainly help minimize our footprint and reduce conflict." With a plan beginning to take shape, Mara directed her security chief to enhance their surveillance systems, not for aggression but for better understanding and avoidance of the Verox. "Use the drones not just to watch for threats but to learn from them. We need to predict their movements, not provoke their defenses," she instructed. The following weeks were a testament to the settlers' determination and adaptability. Teams worked diligently, mapping Verox territories and identifying safe zones for human activity. Drones, equipped with non-invasive sensors, relayed real-time data back to Elliot, who became increasingly adept at interpreting Verox behaviors and communicating these insights to the colony. Meanwhile, Lena's experimental crop plots showed promising results. Not only were the plants thriving, but they also attracted native pollinators, integrating more harmoniously into the local ecosystem than the initial earth crops had. This success gave the settlers a much-needed morale boost and strengthened their resolve to live in harmony with Eden. However, the delicate balance they strove to maintain was constantly challenged. One afternoon, as Mara reviewed drone footage with Elliot, they observed a group of juvenile Verox playing near a human-marked safe zone. The proximity was too close for comfort, yet the sight of the young creatures frolicking was a stark reminder of the shared instincts of all young mammals, human or Verox. This is their home, Mara mused aloud, watching the young Verox. And we need to respect that, just as we strive to protect our own. The colony on Eden had settled into a cautious routine, balancing the daily demands of survival with the imperative to maintain a peaceful coexistence with the Verox. Captain Mara Jennings frequently found herself mediating not only logistical challenges but also the moral and ethical dilemmas arising from their new life. The recent discovery of a large Verox nesting site near one of the proposed expansion areas for the colony thrust these issues into sharp relief. It's the ideal location for the new hydroponics facility, argued Commander Tyra Banks during a planning meeting. It's flat, close to a water source, and receives optimal sunlight. We can't let the presence of Verox nests halt our progress. Mara listened, weighing the practical considerations. Yet the past months had instilled in her the value of prudence and respect for the local wildlife. Relocating the nests could endanger the Verox pups and provoke an aggressive response. We've worked hard to establish trust. I'm not willing to jeopardize that, Mara countered firmly. Dr. Elliot Reed, attending the meeting to provide insights into Verox behavior, supported Mara's stance. The nesting site is active only part of the year. If we delay construction by a few months, we can avoid disturbing them altogether, he suggested. The debate was intense, mirroring the growing tension within the colony between expansion and conservation. Ultimately, Mara decided to hold a colony-wide forum to discuss the issue openly. It was a testament to her leadership style, inclusive and democratic, aimed at fostering a sense of community and shared decision-making. At the forum, settlers expressed diverse viewpoints. Some, like Commander Banks, prioritized human needs and security, citing the sacrifices made to establish the colony. Others supported Mara's advocacy for a sustainable approach that respected the native species of Eden. Lena, the agricultural engineer, suggested a compromise. What if we modified the design of the hydroponics facility to have a smaller footprint? We could employ vertical farming techniques to maximize space and reduce our impact on the surrounding area. This proposal piqued interest and led to a series of workshops in which settlers, scientists, and engineers collaborated to redesign the project. This initiative not only resolved the immediate conflict but also acted as a catalyst for innovative solutions applicable to future expansions. As the revised project got underway, Mara made regular visits to the construction site, ensuring that all precautions were taken to minimize disturbances to the Verox. Her dedication did not go unnoticed by the settlers, who began to regard her not just as a leader but as a moral compass for the new world they were collectively shaping. One evening, as Mara walked the perimeter of the colony, she paused by a small, secluded area where the first successful hybrid crops had been planted. This spot had become a symbol of the colony's ability to adapt and flourish on Eden. As she touched the leaves of a robust, fruit-bearing plant, she reflected on the delicate balance they had achieved. Sometimes, the hardest choices lead to the strongest growth, she mused, a sentiment that resonated deeply with her experiences on Eden. As the seasons changed on Eden, the colony not only survived but began to flourish. Under Captain Mara Jennings' leadership, the settlers had found a rhythm, weaving their lives into the fabric of the planet with careful, respectful steps. The hydroponics facility, now successfully operating with minimal environmental impact, symbolized a future where human ingenuity and environmental stewardship could coexist. In the heart of the settlement, Mara strolled through the community market, a vibrant display of Eden's bounty and human craftsmanship. Stalls brimmed with fruits from both Earth and Eden, fabrics dyed with native plants, and artisan crafts that merged human and alien aesthetic sensibilities. Amidst the buzz of community life, Mara reflected on the journey they had undertaken. While pausing at a stall showcasing jewelry made from local minerals, a young girl, one of the first children born on Eden, approached her. Captain Mara, look what I found! She exclaimed, holding up a delicate flower, its petals a radiant violet, shimmering with a subtle luminescence under Eden's twin suns. It's beautiful, Anna, Mara smiled, accepting the flower. It's called a luminera. It blooms just like this when it's happy with its home. Anna's eyes widened with delight. Just like us, right? We're blooming because we're happy here? Mara nodded, touched by the child's insight. Exactly like us, Anna. We've learned to be a part of Eden, to grow with it and respect it. Later that day, Mara convened a meeting with her advisory council to plan the annual commemoration of their arrival on Eden, a celebration of survival and symbiosis. Dr. Elliot Reed shared encouraging data on the Verox population stabilizing due to their conservation efforts. They are thriving again, and sightings near human areas have decreased significantly. Our efforts to coexist are working, he reported. As the community gathered for the celebration, Mara addressed the crowd, her voice carrying over the assembled settlers. Today, we celebrate not just our survival but our thriving. We've faced challenges that tested our resolve, our courage, and our compassion. Each of you has contributed to making this colony a beacon of hope, a testament to what humanity can achieve when we respect the life around us. The festivities that followed were a joyous fusion of human and alien culture. Music filled the air, blending earth tunes with the natural sounds of Eden, while dancers painted with glowing, bioluminescent dyes twirled under the stars. As the night progressed, Mara stood apart for a moment, gazing at the bioluminescent forest edge, now undisturbed by Verox or human. She felt a profound connection to everything her community had built, a sustainable home in a once wild and unwelcoming land. We're not just visitors here, she thought. We're part of this world, guardians of its wonders and stewards of its future. Mara's commitment to Eden was clear, and her leadership had steered them toward a future where humanity did not just take from its environment, but lived in harmony with it.